At 4:03 a.m., a security guard radioed dispatch from the 6th floor of an abandoned office building. His voice was barely a whisper. He said there was someone standing in the hallway. The problem: the building was completely empty. Seconds later, he spoke 4 words that nobody could explain. "I know. That's why." Then the radio went silent. He was never seen again. The last radio call. Working the night shift can mess with your head. Empty hallways, flickering lights, and sometimes the feeling that you're not alone. Marcus was a security guard in Texas. His shift started at midnight, every hour. He walked through an abandoned office building and checked in over his radio. For months, nothing unusual ever happened. Then came October 17th. At 2 a.m., Marcus completed his patrol. Everything was normal. At 3 a.m., another routine check-in. Still normal. But at 4:03 a.m., dispatch received a transmission. At first, only static. Then a voice. Marcus's voice, barely a whisper. "There's someone on the 6th floor," dispatch immediately responded. "Marcus, the building is empty." Several seconds passed. No answer. Then Marcus spoke again. This time, he sounded terrified. "I know." And then, nothing. No footsteps. No breathing. No radio noise. Just silence. Police arrived less than 30 minutes later. The 6th floor was empty. Marcus's flashlight was lying on the floor, still turned on. His radio sat beside it. But Marcus was gone. No signs of struggle. No blood. No fingerprints. No evidence. Nothing. Almost as if he had simply vanished. And to this day, nobody knows who he saw. On the 6th floor, at 2:17 a.m., a supermarket employee walked into a storage room. Security cameras watched her enter. Minutes passed, then hours, but she never came back out. Police searched the room from floor to ceiling. There were no secret exits, no hidden doors, no explanation. Just one question. If she never left the room, where did she go? The employee who never clocked out. Sarah worked overnight at a 24-hour supermarket in Ohio. She stocked shelves, organized inventory, and mostly kept to herself. Coworkers trusted her. Managers trusted her. She never missed a shift, never arrived late, never disappeared, until one night. The next morning, managers noticed something strange. Sarah had clocked in, but never clocked out. At first, nobody panicked. Maybe she forgot. Maybe the system glitched. Then they checked the cameras. At 2:17 a.m., Sarah pushed a cart toward the storage room. The camera followed her. She entered the room, and then she never. The hospital basement had been sealed for years. Nobody was supposed to be down there. But at 1:42 a.m., a maintenance worker radioed his supervisor. He said he could hear people talking in the abandoned wing. Minutes later, he made one final transmission. "They know my name." Then the radio went silent. Voices in the hospital basement. Old hospitals are unsettling enough during the day. At night, there's something else entirely. Daniel worked maintenance in a hospital that had been standing for nearly 70 years. One part of the basement had been abandoned long ago. Nobody went there anymore. Nobody was supposed to. At 1:42 a.m., Daniel radioed his supervisor. "I can hear people talking down here." His supervisor laughed. There shouldn't have been anyone there. The wing was sealed, locked, empty. Minutes later, Daniel called again. This time, his voice was shaking. "They're getting closer." Then came one final message, one sentence, a sentence nobody forgot. "They know my name." The radio cut out. When employees reached the basement, Daniel's tools were scattered everywhere. His cart was overturned, but Daniel himself was nowhere to be found, and he has never been seen again. A warehouse worker kept seeing the same figure on security cameras. Every night, it appeared a little closer. At first, he thought it was a prank. Then the cameras captured something impossible. The figure was standing directly behind him. Seconds later, he vanished. The warehouse. Shadow at night. A warehouse can feel endless. Miles of shelves, dark corners, blind spots, places where someone could stand without ever being seen. Kevin worked the overnight shift. Around 3:40 a.m., a security camera captured something unusual. Kevin suddenly stopped, frozen in place, as if he had noticed something. Then he stepped off his forklift, slowly, without speaking, without reacting, almost like he was being called. He walked into a dark aisle and disappeared. Police later reviewed the footage frame by frame. What they found was disturbing. Just before Kevin moved, a tall shadow briefly appeared between shelves, one frame, then gone. Kevin was never seen again. The motel only had one guest that night. At least, that's what the record showed. Hours later, the night clerk disappeared. When police checked the guest's room, it was empty. The guest's name was fake. The address was fake. Even the phone number was fake. Motel room 17. At 1:30 a.m. Emily was alone. The motel was nearly empty. Rain pounded against the windows. Everything seemed normal, until she made a phone call. Emily told her manager someone was standing outside the office, watching her, not moving, just staring. The manager told her to lock the door and call police. She agreed. Then the call ended. Minutes later, police arrived. The office was empty. Emily's purse remained on the desk. Her phone was still there. The front door was locked from the inside. Then investigators discovered something even stranger. The guest staying in room 17 didn't exist. The registration was fake. The address was fake. The phone number was fake. Everything was fake. And Emily was gone. Forever.